You know what's crazy? Most guys are chasing women who already made up their minds about them and still think they can win her over by being nice. Here's the truth. Interest is never given. It's pulled out. And I'm about to show you exactly how to attract almost any woman you want, even if she's showing zero interest right now. Look, we've all been there. You meet a woman, she seems cold, distant, or worse, completely uninterested. You try to talk to her, make her laugh, maybe compliment her, and still, nothing works. But what if I told you that her current disinterest doesn't matter nearly as much as you think? Because attraction isn't something she decides, it's something she feels. And today, I'm going to break down exactly how you trigger that feeling. Even if you're not her type, even if she's friend-zoned you, and even if she's already made it clear that she's not interested, yet. So if you're tired of being ignored, overlooked, or just the nice guy, this is the video you've been waiting for. Let's dive in. You know what's crazy? Most guys are chasing women who already made up their minds about them and still think they can win her over by being nice. Here's the truth. Interest is never given. It's pulled out. And I'm about to show you exactly how to attract almost any woman you want, even if she's showing zero interest right now. Look, we've all been there. You meet a woman, she seems cold, distant, or worse, completely uninterested. You try to talk to her, make her laugh, maybe compliment her, and still, nothing works. But what if I told you that her current disinterest doesn't matter nearly as much as you think? Because attraction isn't something she decides, it's something she feels. And today, I'm going to break down exactly how you trigger that feeling. Even if you're not her type, even if she's friend-zoned you, and even if she's already made it clear that she's not interested, yet. So if you're tired of being ignored, overlooked, or just the nice guy, this is the moment where things change. Here's what nobody tells you. When a woman first meets you, she's not making a logical checklist in her head about your career, your height, or how polite you are. She's scanning for one thing: emotional impact. Not status, not smooth talk, not even looks. It's about how you make her feel when you enter her space. That means if you can shift her emotional state, you can shift how she sees you. That's the foundation of attraction. Disrupting her pattern, making her feel something different from the usual male attention she gets every day. Most guys mess this up because they come in looking for approval. They try too hard to be liked. They over-explain themselves. They overshare. They overgive. And without realizing it, they show her exactly why she shouldn't be attracted to them, because they're trying to earn her like a prize. And when a woman senses that energy, she immediately drops you into the category of just another one. You become forgettable. She might even be nice to your face, but behind the scenes, she's already moved on. But here's the psychological twist. When someone feels like they don't fully understand you, they think about you more. When someone feels like you're slightly out of reach, their brain starts trying to solve you like a puzzle. It's that uncertainty that hooks people. Women are far more emotionally driven than men when it comes to attraction. And emotional hooks like curiosity, unpredictability, even subtle tension, those are more powerful than any compliment or pickup line. That's why so many women become attracted to guys who, on paper, shouldn't stand a chance. The guy isn't the best looking, doesn't have money, doesn't say all the right things, but he gives off a vibe. He's composed. He's not seeking her out. He's busy, a little detached, and his attention feels earned, not handed out for free. Suddenly, she finds herself wondering about him, wondering who he really is. Why isn't he texting her back right away? Why doesn't he seem impressed by her like all the others are? This is the shift you need to understand. Attraction isn't about being loud or flashy. It's about creating subtle pressure that makes a woman start questioning her own emotional responses. And if you can do that, you've already got your foot in the door, even if she wasn't interested at the beginning. It all starts with energy. If your energy says, "Please pick me," you lose. If your energy says, "I don't need you to like me, I'm just here," you win. And the crazy part, the less you seem to want her, the more she starts wondering why. And that curiosity, that's the seed. Once planted, it can grow into something a lot more powerful then interest. It grows into desire. That's what we're aiming for. Because if a woman starts to desire you, game over. You've already flipped the script. Once that seed of curiosity is planted, your next move matters more than you think. This is where most guys panic. They get a small glimpse of attention, and they rush in full speed, texting her nonstop, trying to hang out, trying to impress her all over again. But what they don't realize is that the second they move like that, they kill the spark. Because desire doesn't grow under pressure. It grows in space. It grows when something feels rare. Think about the last time someone suddenly pulled back from you. Didn't it mess with your head a little? Made you think about them more than you wanted to? That's not a coincidence. That's how attention works. See, most men try to increase their value by doing more. More effort, more attention, more favors, more flattery. But what actually increases your value in her eyes isn't how much you give. It's how selective you are with what you give. Women don't want a man who's always available. They want a man whose time feels valuable, whose energy feels earned, and whose attention isn't handed out like a coupon. That doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is one of the most intoxicating psychological triggers there is. The goal is to make her feel like she's the one starting to chase, without even realizing it. You do that by creating subtle contrast. One day you're engaged, listening, a little playful. The next day, you're harder to read. Not rude, just distant. Not ignoring her, but clearly focused on your own world. When she senses that you're not just sitting around waiting for her reply, it triggers a small feeling of loss, even if she didn't care much at first. That's where emotional tension starts to build. You know why some women get obsessed with men who give them mixed signals? It's not just confusion. It's because those signals activate her need to figure him out. And when a woman starts trying to solve you, she gets emotionally involved. Her thoughts start looping. Why hasn't he replied? Did I say something wrong? Is he seeing someone else? Those questions aren't just casual thoughts. They're emotional hooks. And every time her mind goes there, you're becoming more memorable. But none of this works if you're faking it. You can't pretend to be mysterious or detached if you're constantly checking your phone, thinking about her, and just waiting for your next chance to talk. You have to actually shift your focus. You need to start living like she's not the center of your world, because she's not supposed to be. Not yet. You have your own life, your own routine, your own goals. You're not just some guy sitting around hoping to win the jackpot of her affection. You're a man she's slowly starting to realize might slip away if she doesn't keep up. That's when things flip. That's when her disinterest turns into curiosity. Curiosity turns into attention. And attention, when sustained with the right emotional pressure, becomes attraction. It's not about manipulation. It's about reversing the dynamic. She's used to men bending over backwards the moment she gives them the slightest attention. You're the opposite. You don't chase. You give just enough to spark interest, and then you disappear into your own rhythm again. And here's something women will never say out loud. They respect men who don't make them feel like a prize. The guy who sees her beauty but doesn't worship it. The guy who enjoys her company but doesn't need it. That guy, he's different. And different gets remembered. Different makes her think. Different makes her compare you to every other man who tried too hard. And the moment she starts comparing, you're already ahead. By now, she's not thinking about whether she likes you. She's trying to understand why you feel so different. She's wondering what your story is. She's watching your patterns. She's even checking your socials more than she'll admit. That's the emotional buildup that sets you apart from the crowd. But we're just getting started. Because once you've planted desire and built mystery, the next step is triggering emotional investment. And that's where things really shift. You've done the groundwork. She's intrigued, even if she doesn't show it outright. Maybe she's still acting cool, still keeping her options open, still telling herself she's not that into you. But here's the part she's not ready for. Attraction doesn't need her permission. Feelings can creep in slowly, under the surface, even when her words say the opposite. And once that starts, logic takes a back seat. At this point, the goal isn't to convince her you're amazing. It's to let her discover it herself. And the best way to make that happen, Get her to invest, not just emotionally, but mentally. Get her to put in little bits of effort here and there. A reply she didn't need to send. A question she didn't need to ask. A compliment she didn't mean to give. The more she puts into the interaction, the more she subconsciously wants it to go somewhere. Because people don't like wasting their time, especially women who are used to men chasing them. So when she starts putting in effort, her brain tries to justify it. That justification becomes emotional momentum. This is where you use something called push-pull. It's one of the most powerful psychological techniques in attraction. And no, it's not about being toxic or playing games. It's about sending two opposite signals that confuse her expectations in a way that keeps her emotionally hooked. You show a moment of warmth. Maybe you compliment her smile or laugh at her joke. Then, just when she starts to feel a bit comfortable, you pull back. You say something unexpected. You end the conversation early. You disappear for a few days. That tension, that's what makes her feel. Think about it. What's more memorable? A guy who texts her good morning every day and never breaks the pattern? Or the guy who surprises her, disappears, reappears, and makes her feel unsure, but excited? The second guy triggers anticipation, and anticipation is emotional glue. It's what keeps her checking her phone. It's what makes her wonder when she'll hear from you again. It's what makes her start investing without even knowing she's doing it. Now here's where most guys mess up. They get too confident, too soon. She starts responding. Maybe she even compliments you back, and suddenly you think you've won. So you ease up. You tell her how much you like her. You start acting like a boyfriend. And just like that, the tension breaks. She feels like she figured you out. And the moment she's certain she has you, her interest starts to fade. You want to avoid that trap by always staying just one step ahead. Keep her guessing. Let her feel like she's gaining ground, but never hand her the entire map. Keep the mystery alive. Make her feel like you're still a little out of reach. That doesn't mean being distant all the time. It means having emotional control. You give when it's unexpected. You disappear when she wants more. And in doing that, you shift the balance. Eventually, she'll start questioning herself. Why do I care what he thinks? Why do I keep checking his stories? Why am I even thinking about him? These aren't just signs of interest. They're signs that her emotions have overridden her logic. That's when you know the game has changed. Because at that point, she's no longer just responding to you. She's reacting. And reactions are fueled by emotion, not decision. You didn't chase her. You didn't beg. You didn't impress her with over-the-top gestures. All you did was create space for her to feel something. And that feeling became the hook. Now she's the one wondering what you're doing, who you're talking to, whether you even care. And that feeling, as uncomfortable as it is for her, is what keeps her coming back. There's one more level to this, though. And it's the one most men never reach. It's when she's no longer just intrigued, no longer just curious, but emotionally attached. That final shift, that's what we're about to cover next. At this point, something strange starts to happen in her mind. She may not admit it out loud. She may not even fully realize it yet. But the thoughts are getting louder. Why hasn't he texted? Why do I care what he thinks of me? Does he like someone else? These questions aren't casual anymore. They're emotional intrusions. And they're happening because you created emotional imbalance. You stayed unpredictable. You made her work for your attention. You became the unknown, and humans are wired to obsess over the unknown. Certainty is boring. Uncertainty is addictive. Now, once she's emotionally invested, here's the truth most men never figure out. Attraction is no longer about logic or even your looks. It's about emotion. And if you've made her feel enough, curiosity, tension, insecurity, laughter, confusion, jealousy, excitement, then you've already bypassed her rational mind. You've created a connection that makes her feel alive. She won't say this out loud, but she's craving more. Not of you, but of how you make her feel. That's the real secret. Here's the twist. Once she's emotionally hooked, you don't even need to chase anymore. In fact, the less you do, the more powerful you become in her eyes. You've already shifted the power dynamic. Now the only thing left is maintaining it. And you do that by showing one crucial thing, that you are capable of walking away, not pretending, not acting distant as a strategy, but genuinely being the kind of man who values himself enough to never beg for someone's attention. That energy, that confidence, it's rare, it's magnetic, and it changes how she sees you. Because now, every time you pull back, she feels it. Every silence feels like a test. Every moment without you feels heavier. And that's when she starts to chase. Not because you asked her to, but because she needs to know where she stands. She needs to feel seen again. She needs to know that connection wasn't in her head, and suddenly she's the one overthinking. She's the one wondering if you were ever really interested in the first place. That's the full circle moment. That's when you become the prize, not because you said so, not because you told her you were different, but because you showed it in every move you made. You weren't afraid to lose her. You weren't afraid to create space. You weren't afraid to stay silent. And that, more than anything, is what sticks with her. Because most guys fold under pressure. Most guys react out of fear. But you didn't. And that separates you from 99% of men she's ever dealt with. And now let's make something clear. This doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you never show interest or affection. It means that when you do show it, it means something. It's not given away for free. It's not a strategy. It's a reflection of your standards. You show warmth when it feels genuine, not when you're trying to win her over. And that's what builds respect. That's what builds mystery. That's what makes her feel like she's got something real on the line. Attraction isn't about constantly talking, constantly texting, or constantly trying to be impressive. It's about creating emotional contrast. It's about showing her the highs and the lows, the moments of presence, followed by absence, the moments of flirtation, followed by silence. That space in between, that's where her imagination goes wild. That's where obsession is born. She starts to imagine what you're thinking. She starts to analyze every word you've said. And suddenly, you're in her head, living rent-free. When a woman feels that way, she'll start making excuses to reach out. She'll start asking questions just to keep the conversation going. She might even test you, try to make you jealous, act cold for a moment, or pretend she's moved on. But those are not signs of disinterest. They're signs of emotional struggle. Her logical brain is fighting the emotional pull you've created. That conflict is powerful. And if you stay centered, if you don't react emotionally or chase, she'll break. Not because you forced her to, but because her emotions won't let her ignore you anymore. Now here's where it all comes together. Once she's emotionally attached and mentally invested, the ball is in your court. You can choose to build something real, or you can walk away and leave a lasting imprint she won't forget. Either way, you've done something most men never do. You've shifted the entire frame of attraction. You've gone from trying to win her to becoming the man she's afraid to lose. So remember this, no matter how uninterested a woman seems, if you learn how to control your energy, manage your attention, create emotional contrast, and let her come to you, you can attract almost any woman. Not by being someone else, but by being a man who knows how to feel less and make her feel more. Don't try to impress her, make her feel you. Now, if you want to go even deeper and learn exactly how women react when you start pulling away, go watch the next video.